you very much for your inspiring words. We very much look forward to visiting. Your Highness, thank you for your very inspiring words. We very much look forward to visiting Doha for the conference, which is an extremely important one on financing for development. Thank you also, Secretary General Matsuura, Director General Matsuura, for your leadership on educational matters. Let me just give you my perspective, because when we all are watching TV or listening to the news from this world, we all get the perspective that the world is moving from bad to worse. The contrary is the truth. Never at any point in history has the situation in the world been better. That must be the starting point. There are fewer wars, more democracy than at any time in human history. And the average citizen is taller, fatter, better educated, and in better health than at any other point in human history. So there are lots of successes, and we should celebrate the successes. Take what we heard this morning from President Lula of Brazil. 20 million Brazilians over the last very few years have been uplifted into the middle class. One aspect of being in the middle class is that you are not afraid of the education of your children. You know that they will get some acceptable education. Or the example of Vietnam. Maybe the biggest development success story in the world over the last couple of decades. Millions out of poverty after the war into prosperity. Or Bangladesh, one of the poorest nations in the world, an enormous success on girls' education and on giving education to the children. Or my second fatherland, Sri Lanka. Wherever you visit a village there, you will see children of all ages with uniforms going to school in the morning. So there are so many success stories. But, and then comes the big but. Of course, for the mother or father who see my child not educated, I will not be satisfied with the world average. World average is better, but I am interested in my child. And some mothers and fathers go to extreme length to get their children educated. I recall the mother I met in southern Sudan. In southern Sudan, 1% of the girls get 5 years of schooling. I mean, it's completely unacceptable and unbelievable because of the fact of the war. She had brought her 3 surviving children. One was dead. Hundreds of miles, basically walking to the River Nile to catch a small boat and by that boat take her to a bigger city. And the perspective was just one. She wanted her children to get some basic education. She was illiterate. She had no perspective on her own. But she wanted to bring her children into what she had been denied, a better life, and the way was through education. And there are millions of these kinds of stories all over the world. There are also politicians who take up the challenge. Let me salute the Minister of Education of Afghanistan, my good friend. I know that you have the perspective that no Afghan children should be left behind. As long as there is one child in Afghanistan not getting education, it's one too many. And that must be the global perspective. Yes, we are making successes, but as long as there is one child left behind, it's one too many, and we must increase our efforts. From Norwegian perspective, we will now increase our support to global educational matters with the support to UNICEF. We don't believe in Norway doing everything on our own through bilateral relationship. We should strengthen the global structures. We were working very hard with Unesco to achieve these aims, and we will support the fast-track initiatives within the World Bank and other schemes to increase the level of education. Then I will end up with just inviting all of you to the Oslo high-level meeting on education for all. Fortunately, I cannot guarantee that the weather will be the same as here today, but still Norway in winter may be very beautiful. There are a number of priorities I would suppose for that or suggest for that conference. One is the education of girls. Yes, we are making successes, but many, many girls are left behind. So we should prioritize or focus on the education for girls. Another matter is the matter of education in vulnerable, fragile states and states at war. It is a very close relationship between wars and education. Of course, when there is a war, the best way to guarantee education is to put a stop to the war. Because who will build or construct a school if it's burned down the next morning? So we must put a stop to wars to get the education. But if you educate more people, it seems also to be a good measure against renewed war. So these are closely linked, but we should look into the success stories on how you can, even at times of very big difficulties in a nation, promote education. And finally, a personal topic. My wife is working in the Norwegian Ministry of Education, and she tells me every morning, she says, it's all about the teachers. It's much better with, I mean, yes, we should promote better schools, better equipment, all that. That is true. But it's much better with a good teacher in a ruin than a bad teacher in a castle. So it's the promoting good teachers education, and to make everything, all equipment available for the good teachers. That is an enormous task. And let us make that a focus of the Oslo meeting. You are all heartily welcome. And thank you and congratulations for calling this event.